Good day everyone, I am Magsino, second year political science student from Far Eastern University, and I am here to present our research paper proposal in partial fulfillment of the requirements for GED 0112 Scholarly Inquiry course. Now let's get started. Our research paper is entitled The Relationship Between Online Self-Regulation and Level of Academic Productivity according to the learning modality of students in Far Eastern University, Manila. I want to begin my presentation by introducing my co-authors, who are also responsible for this study, Mr. Rice De Leon, Ms. Jeline Frutas, and Mr. Gerald Gahudo, who are also second-year students currently taking Bachelor of Science in Psychology. Now, this will be the outline and flow of the presentation. This research presentation is divided into 4 parts. For the first part, I will be discussing the background of the study and the introduction. After that is the key literature. Next will be the problem statement and the research questions. And lastly, the methodology. Now we are going to proceed with the introduction. Online learning is not something new. This type of learning strategy has been around for several years, and it has been adopted by several universities worldwide. However, the pandemic has caused universities and students to adopt this learning method to ensure everyone's safety. The significance of this study is that it is needed to study online learning further, as the large-scale setup and the new learning strategies the pandemic has created will generate new areas and concepts. This study addressed the issue of the effectiveness of the new learning strategies implemented that is relatively unknown. Research designed like this would provide relevant information. However, because of the limitation on the part of researchers, the study will be only exploring the association of these new learning strategies to the previously established concept in online learning. This study aims to identify the relationship between the online self-regulation scores and the level of academic productivity of the students according to their learning modalities, and determine if there are any significant difference among these relationships. Moving on to the key literature. According to the one, there has been an abundant change in how education is imparted and received during this pandemic. Only by innovating appropriate solutions and strategies can universities, schools, and institutes overcome the challenges and weaknesses of an online learning environment, such as the fact that not all teachers and students have access to all forms of online technology or connectivity. This idea of the one explains the creation of different learning modalities in Far Eastern University, the mixed online learning, asynchronous online learning, and total analog learning. We neither studied self-regulation in an online learning environment and discovered that students with higher level of this concept performed better and were more satisfied with their learning experience. Bradley and his co-authors noted that self-regulation is an essential factor in an online learning environment. However, it will also depend on the number of online courses the student has to take, the large-scale setup of the pandemic, which has caused requirements for students to take all their courses online. Pardo and her colleague, Encasan, mentions that academic achievement and student productivity are predicated on how self-regulated the student is in his or her online courses. This literature emphasized the importance of self-regulation as a factor to students for their online learning. This factor can identify if they can produce well and excel in their online studies. I will now to show you the problem statement and the research questions of this study. This correlational study aims to identify the relationship between online self-regulation and the level of academic productivity of Far Eastern University students according to their learning modalities, to reveal how these variables relate to one another with the different online learning environments adapted. Specifically, the study aims to answer the following. What are the levels of online self-regulation of the students according to their learning modality? What is the level of academic productivity of students according to their learning modality? Is there a significant relationship between the level of online self-regulation and level of academic productivity according to their learning modality of the students? And for the last part, the methodology. This research paper uses a quantitative research method that uses a correlational research design, wherein the researchers will try to describe and explain the relationship between the variables online self-regulation, level of academic productivity, and learning modality. The participants for this research will be the students of Far Eastern University with different learning modalities from different year levels and degree programs. The researchers uses a simple random sampling technique to produce a wide variety of data samples from different institutes, degree programs, and batches, which will broaden the scope of the data that can represent the FEU population more precisely. For the data gathering procedure, the researchers will use online forms making applications such as Microsoft Forms or Google Forms to construct the questionnaires needed for the research. Because of the new normal setup brought by the pandemic, it will be done online. This data gathering procedure will ensure the researchers' and respondents' safety amid the coronavirus. This study follows a quantitative survey questionnaire setup. It will use the online self-regulated learning questionnaires of Barnard and his co-authors, divided into 6 subscale parts. Also, the level of student productivity survey questionnaires of Bagia and Monea, an adaptation of the questionnaires made by Monyadi and Saints Malaysia, both Likert type scale questionnaires that have choices ranging from never to always and from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Also, the students will have to answer a questionnaire about their personal information such as age, sex, year level, course, and learning modality. This study will use a Pearson's R and a Biserial correlation and coefficients to analyze the data. The Pearson's R correlation will determine the relationship between the online self-regulation scores and level of academic productivity because both have interval scales of measurement. Then, the Biserial correlation coefficients will measure the relationship of learning modalities to both the level of academic productivity and online self-regulation scores, since the learning modalities have a nominal scale of measurement. That is the end of my presentation. Again, I am John Angelo Magsino. Thank you for listening and God bless us always. Keep safe, everyone.